All right, how are you doing? Today we're going to talk about how do you do that and why how to is maybe one of the most damaging things you can ask yourself or others. How to, and then look at the way tennis is instructed, and you'll see a lot of how to. How do you do this? And then what happens with people? Then their brains go into checklist mode. They do they know that they need to do this and then this and then this. And while they're processing that, they can't do it. So we're going to talk about how do you do that, and we're also going to talk about a little bit of gamesmanship and also the antidote for that, because it is some when sometimes I've had the experience, I know maybe you have too, where you're playing great, and then you come to the realization, wow, right now I'm playing great. And then as soon as you start thinking about, well, how is this happening, right, then it just goes away instantly. So um, Federer gave a really great quote last year or the year before. They asked him, "Oh, well, how is it that you do what you do?" And he said, "Well, actually, really, none of us really know. We don't really know how we do what we do, except that we've been blessed with the opportunity to hit millions of tennis balls and have coaches who helped us figure it out bit by bit. And here we are." And so, they're not thinking about how to hit a tennis ball at all. So, anyway, one thing that I commonly do is I explain to my players the concept of the ice cream sandwich and the VCR. Now, if you're too young to know what a VCR is, it's a video it's a video playing device that had a plastic cassette tape, and you put it in the slot and then it plays a movie. Okay, but a lot of you do know what that is. But anyway, about 25 years ago, there was an ad on TV, and it showed a 5-year-old boy, and he had an ice cream sandwich. And so he puts the ice cream sandwich in the VCR slot, and the movie didn't play, right? And so that's funny. It's good comedy, right? Because you're like, no, right? As he's getting ready, and then he shoves it in there. So that is that the ice cream sandwich is when people develop checklists in their mind. They think about, how am I doing it? How do you do it? How do you do this thing? Or they do the paralysis by analysis thing. They're like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Those things are like the ice cream sandwich. Um, but now, if you have a VHS tape, which I've never understood why it's a VHS tape that goes in the VCR. Shouldn't it be a VCR tape? I don't know. Okay, that's a little side. That's no extra charge right there. So, but here's what does work. What does work is when you see what you want to do, like, and so demonstrating as a coach, as a player, demonstrating, taking a practice stroke is actually a far better thing to do um, than any other thought you can have. And then, so seeing and feeling it. Now, another thing that happens with my players is we we sort of wait until they hit one that is one that they like. And then once they hit one that they like, we pay attention to that. We stop and we say, do you remember what that looked like? Do you remember what that felt like? Because that's the signal you want to send to your brain. I want more of those. And then your brain goes, oh, okay, I didn't know you want that because I've been trying so hard to drown out all that crap you're feeding me. I haven't been able to do it because I've been having to listen to your incessant inner talk. So, oh, that's what you want. All right, very good. Now, one of the greatest gamesmanship plays that you can pull on your friends for fun. And so I just want to be absolutely clear. Do not do this in competition. It is cheating. It is gamesmanship, right? But if you're playing a social set with your buddies and you need to talk some trash, and you want your buddy's game to all of a sudden fall to pieces, then after he or she hits a good shot, then say, "Hey, how do you do that? That was a great shot. How do you do that?" And then if they take the bait, they will start to think about how they do that, and you'll be surprised. I mean, all of a sudden their game will go down if they take the bait and start thinking about how they do stuff. And then here's the antidote, though. This is the best part. The antidote is, so somebody says to me, I was playing a tournament, and a guy says to me, "Oh, that was great playing. How are you doing this?" And so I turned to him and I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to keep doing it." Right? He said, "Hey, that was a great serve. How do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know, but here comes another one." So so don't take the bait. Don't start thinking about how you do things, because it only takes your brain to a place that doesn't. That's not the modality in which you perform your strokes. So because there are different modalities of thought, and your brain has different functions, and it's pretty mysterious about where all these functions reside. And it actually can be changeable, because there are people who have brain injuries, and then that function has to move to a different place in the brain. So it can happen. It's a lot of mysteries about the human brain and how it all works. But um, it's the visual and the kinesthetic paired that it's the visual and the kinesthetic paired that really has the most impact on good inputs for what will work. All right. All right. So I'm getting a comment from Larry Sims. Hello, Larry Sims. I've heard that before. Heard that before about complimenting your opponent when they make a great shot. Definitely getting into their head. Now they have to think a little bit. Before was a natural instinct to do. They now do. Now you got them. Overthinking the natural strokes that they made led to hear you say this. All right. All right. So, yes, Larry, you get it. And it's not news. This is not news. This is maybe old school, forgotten knowledge. This is something from the old days. It's one of those tricks that people used to play on each other. They might not have known the brain science behind it, but it worked. So, ultimately, what needs to happen is people need to leave their minds and come to their senses. So, if somebody's trying to get you in your head, then come out of your head and just go, okay, what do I see right now, and what do I feel? And one thing that's really interesting. Kevin Vaughn, that's awesome. And I love rhymed answers and questions and whatnot. All right, so Kevin Vaughn, you're a superstar. I don't know you well. We should get to know each other. So are you suggesting the more you think, the more you stink? Pretty much. But let's have a caveat there. The only thinking that really should be going on the court is tactical. So in between points, you should be thinking about, okay, what's my opponent's weakness, right? What have I been doing that's working? I'm going to get to David Smith's comment in a moment. What have I been doing that's working? And have I been overusing a strategy, right? What now I'm going to plan the next point. So, sometimes I realize that, this player really hates low backhands, but I haven't really been slicing low to his backhand. So, all right, okay, I got to do that. And I'm going to look for an opportunity in this game to do that a few times. And then, you also want to be aware of your state of anxiety, your confidence levels, and you want to be able to say good things to yourselves, like controlled aggression, right? Um, Keep up your intensity, right? And have positive things, some cues to keep you up, right? So that's okay, but not thinking about the execution of your strokes, with some very minor exceptions, right? So you might see a pattern like, okay, what's going on? I'm pushing my approach shot long. Okay, all right. So, hmm, I think I'll make one little adjustment. I mean, it's manageable to make one little adjustment. Okay, I'm pushing them long, so maybe my racket face is a little too open. So I'm gonna just close my racket face a little bit more. Okay, problem solved. But these little problems are completely different than trying to remember an entire process about how to execute a stroke. That will put you at sea. All right. So now I'm going on to David Smith's comment. My college coach always used this mental or gamesmanship. Hey Joe, you're really hitting your serve volley forehand at all so great. Yeah, because it gets you thinking. And then here's another interesting thing. So sometimes people are thrown off by a compliment. So, how many times as a player or as a coach you've seen someone who got a compliment, and then because now they feel self-conscious because someone's noticing them, then their game falls apart. So, and in a lesson, sometimes I'll say, "Hey, really good shot," and then the next couple of shots really stink. I'm like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have given you a compliment." But no, that's not the answer. Here's the answer: say thank you. Somebody gives you a compliment, say thank you, and then don't ruminate on it. It's over. Compliment came, thank you given, no more thought on that. Because when you get a compliment and then you go, oh, someone appreciates me, and then you're just you let that inside of you, right? And then you start ruminating on it. Now your mind's on something else and you're not playing your game. So that's happened to me a lot. I learned to just go, oh, thanks, right? And then it's done. And then even you use your decisive stage see, this is part of the psychology of the decisive stage of the 16-second cure by Lair, is that the point's over, you make this decisive movement, and you're telling yourself that point's over, right? So if someone compliments you for that point, it's polite to say thank you, but you've already decided that that point's over. You have left it behind. So you're not thinking about it anymore. Then, after you've gone through your relaxation stage for 2 or 3 seconds or whatever it is, then you can like revisit the point in your mind and go, okay, what just happened there? Okay, I hit a winning volley to the forehand side, low, he didn't get it. All right, very good. And you could take mental notes. That's good. You want to think about the tactical thing. And then you go, okay, now what do I want to do on this next point? And the game is a game of contingencies. So no matter what your plan is, you need a contingency, because if they crack that return and now all of a sudden you're on defense, then your little offensive plan just got blown up. So you got to play some good D and then reset that point so you can try to do what you want. Anyway, so just to recap, and I really appreciate people coming on. And yeah, Larry, I mean, Bobby Riggs, and Alan Fox, and, Tim Galway, and, lots of players, used psychological tactics and game playing. I mean, Brad Gilbert, is one of them. There used to be a lot more trash talk in the game. So there was a trash talking thing on changeovers where people trying to throw each other off. So Um, it probably still happens more in college, but okay. To recap, A, thanks for the comments. I love that. B, um, leave your mind, come to your senses. Don't, if you catch yourself thinking about how to, stop doing that. If you're subjectively judging your shots, good and bad, stop that. If you're um, thinking you have a checklist in your mind, 1, 2, 3, do this, do this, do this, stop that. Um, if you're if you're trying to analyze an entire stroke to find out, where is a problem, stop that. And then just come to, okay, what do I see? What do I want to do? Right? And what does it feel like? And so if you have a recollection of the shot that you like, then just remember that. And that's a good input. Um, and then C, learn to not let anything your opponent says to you affect you, right? Say, respond appropriately and then put it to bed and use your 16-second cure to inoculate you from mental games that your opponent might try to play on you. Thank you, guard you, the gratitude that you show towards the compliment guards you from becoming arrogant or overconfident or ruminating too much on that compliment. It will help you to just put it to bed, move forward. And then the funny thing is, you're going to see better, because when your brain gets busy with all this stuff, it takes away CPU from your vision, and your visual experience is 60% of what your brain does. 60% of your brain's activity is about your vision. And less than 10% is your sense of touch or your sense of hearing. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.